am so happy and grateful to be here together with you live on YouTube. And here we are for the 3 keys to declutter your life starting today. And here we are. Let's do it right here, right now. So, welcome. This is design. Our time together is designed. And what you're going to walk away with today are really ideas, and not only ideas, tools, and not just tools, a clear pathway to get things done and have a lot of fun. So, this is about spring cleaning made easy. I'm going to share with you 3 C's. It's actually a tool, 3 C's to begin decluttering your life starting today. And again, that clear pathway where you can hop on that pathway, get things done, and have a lot of fun. I am so happy and grateful that you are here. If you're live here with me, welcome. And let's see if you are in the chat. Please feel free to say hello and where you are in this day. And know that wherever you are, I am so happy to be here together with you. And if you're watching the replay, well, welcome, 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 welcome to you too. So this idea of decluttering, it is not something that I was born an organized person. And to give you a little background of how I've come across this information, why I believe it matters, and why it matters to you, and my experience in helping people as a transformational coach over the last 30 years now, almost 3 decades. What I've noticed is that organization, specifically being decluttered in life, offers a lift in spirit. Now, I'm not the only one who's recognized this. This is scientifically proven that when we have a decluttered space and place, then we will have a lift in our spirit. And when we have a lift in our spirit, well, that sets the stage for major transformation in our results and in our life. Now, I just want to make sure before we go any further that we are good to go with our video, with our audio, and it looks like we have a delay in how I am with you in this day. So let us see, what can we do to correct and rectify this before we move forward? And I have this beautiful angel named Leanne with us today. And Leanne and I are now communicating here so that we can see. Leanne, share with me. What can we do to rectify this in this moment at this time? Because I'm here to create something absolutely sublime. So we're looking into this and taking a peek, and hopefully we will work this out just as soon as possible. For now, just take a breath. Let us take a beat. Let us see what we can do to take care of this for you. Leanne is a master. She's looking. And I am also receiving that others are hearing me just fine. So we are going to continue, and off to the races we go. Thank you for that. And now let us return to this moment. And if there is a delay moving forward, then here's what we're going to do. We will take a review. We will do a redo, and we will come back with a very clear replay, especially for you. So again, thank you for being here, and let us get started. Roll up our sleeves. We're here for 3 keys to declutter your life starting today. So again, 3 decades of working with people, what I've noticed is that when we have clutter in our lives, outside, in our spaces and places, many times, A lot of the time, almost always, that is a result of a cluttered mind. And if we have a cluttered mind, we will have clutter on the outside, inside, outside, and outside, inside. If for whatever reason our spaces start to get cluttered, we will start to feel a little bit cluttered, a little scattered. Now, does this really matter? And we want to speak to this idea because I have 3 keys to declutter your life starting today. And the first key is let's take a moment. Let's take a moment to really identify why this matters and why this matters most for you. As I mentioned, when we have clean and clear, organized spaces, we have the opportunity to catch a lift in our spirit. And whenever we are lifted in our spirit, well, Ella's results also lift as well. So much so that in my experience, I have come to see that there are some really important keys to create this lift that creates a happier, healthier, more productive you. And I even wrote about it. I created a guide. It's called the Happiness Guide. I refer to this as the Happiness Guide. And you're going to have the opportunity to download this guide where I share 7 keys to boost your happiness starting today. And so our time together really has to do with one of those keys inside of how you can be happy, how you can be healthier, how you can lift your productivity starting today. So in that guide today, we're speaking about key number 5. And key number 5 is be organized. And in being organized, again, it matters. So key number 1 in decluttering your life is right here, right now. Let's take a moment. Let's take a moment to really look at this topic of organization, decluttering, and how this and why this matters for you. So when we take a peek behind the curtain of clutter or organization or the idea of organization, it's for many, we can't see the connection of how this impacts our productivity or how it impacts our health. And this is real, factual, scientifically based that on average, people spend 3 hours, almost 4 hours, 3.5 hours, almost 4 hours a week trying to find things. They waste time, they lose time over 3.5 hours each week just trying to find things because of disorganization. And in this, it is said that over 50% of people feel like they have an issue with organization and they have clutter in their lives. Remember, when we have clutter outside, many times there's some clutter going on within. Over 80% of people, 80% report feeling overwhelmed in the clutter in their lives and in their homes. Now, why does this matter? Clutter creates anxiety. Clutter can create frustration. Imagine how frustrating it is to try to find things when it's not where it's supposed to be, or you can't remember where you put it, or you thought you put it somewhere where you would be able to find it and now you can't. Anxiety, frustration, irritation, and in that, it has an impact on the body. It has an impact on the mind. It has an impact in the spirit. So when we think about this overwhelm, and then we think about how that could lead to depression, even depression. So this matters. It matters a lot. And that's why I'm so thrilled to be with you here today to share some simple tools and to share some ways in which you can begin decluttering today because it matters. It's showing up. And even when we think that we have everything organized and everything's in its place, but we have those 1 or 2 closets where we shut the door, like we pack everything in there and then we shut the door, out of sight, out of mind. Not so fast. It doesn't work that way. And here's why. When you hear this, and our opportunity to take a moment to understand how this may impact you personally and how this may be impacting your results, you will be thrilled to stay tuned for key number 2 and key number 3. And by the way, you will want to stay to the end, because in this day, I have got a gift for you. Many times in these kinds of sessions, there's an upsell or a program or something that you can opt into. And today, there is nothing for you to purchase in this decluttering idea. I have a gift for you. And back in the day on talk shows, whether it was Oprah or some of those kinds of people, they used to give cars away. Well, I don't have a car to give away to you today. However, I have something that I am giving to you today that has the potential to give you such a lift in springing forward, and such a lift in your spirit, and such a lift in your results, that 6 weeks from tonight, 6 weeks from today, you will feel as though you were in a whole different space and time. I believe that it's even better than a car. However, more to be revealed on that. But stay tuned, because this is a gift. It's absolutely a gift, and it's something that is a big gift, and it's here for you. So when we think about out of sight, out of mind, out of sight, out of mind, well, is it really? When we have things that are in a closet, when we have things in a garage, when we have things in a cupboard, and we close those doors, it is really easy for us to think, no, couldn't impact us at all. But here's what happens. There's a part of our brain and a part of each of us that is called the subconscious. And the role of the subconscious is to keep track of everything. It keeps track of every move we make. It knows when we put something away and just close the door and don't have it in order. It knows every single little thing that we have in our garages. It knows every single little thing we've stored in our attic. It knows every single way and space and place in which we've positioned things, whether that's organized or not. It keeps track of everything. And so in this idea that we think out of sight, out of mind, no. Imagine this. Imagine a computer. Imagine a computer. You and I, we have computers. And the computer, imagine that you have a lot of windows open on your computer. Now, I tend to have a lot of windows open on my computer at one time. And what we know is that when a lot of windows are open on a computer, it takes more bandwidth, it takes more energy, it takes more memory, it takes a lot for that computer to function. And so if we have a lot open on a computer, then it will go slower. And if it goes slower, it doesn't work to the potential, to the prime in which it's designed. And so the same thing, you may know this. And if you don't, here's a bonus for today. On our phones, I was with my daughter and I was saying, my phone, it's going a little slow. And she said, Mom, let me have your phone. She looked at my phone and she said, do you know how many windows you have open on your phone? When I'm just on my internet, I just see one window. But when I click the little button that shows all of the places and spaces I have been and not closed out, there were, I would exaggerate and say hundreds. Excuse me in this moment. I would exaggerate and say hundreds. However, my daughter really believed that it was the equivalent. And what she said is, Mom, close these out. When you're finished, close them out. Because if you keep them open, then you're going to run into issues with your phone not running to its optimum. And so as my daughter started closing all these windows and she gave the phone back to me and I used the phone again, it was like magic, absolute magic. But think about this. We do it with our technology. We're now aware of it with our technology. And now, just on a regular basis, I go in and I close my phone and I close the tabs on my computer and I reset and I reboot. And the same holds true for you and for me. In our subconscious, if things are incomplete, if things are out of order, if things are ready to be cleared up, cleaned out, moved out, changed, our subconscious will remember it, take note of it. And pretty soon, imagine all of that bandwidth that you and I don't even know is running full time, full time. So imagine this. While we are sleeping, our subconscious is trying to keep everything in order, everything in order, everything in order, everything in order, so that when we wake up the next morning, we will be ready for all the things that's kept in order and all the things that's kept in order and all the things that's kept in order. Now, here's a really important point. Would you believe that that process also impacts sleep? That when things are out of order, looks like we're sleeping or maybe not. Wonder why I keep waking up at night. Why do I not feel like I have a fresh night's sleep? Because in the background, our computers are keeping track of everything. Now, here's the good news is that you and I, we have the opportunity to start shutting those windows down, so to speak, clearing out, cleaning up, and completing projects in our life, and not only in our physical space, but this also applies emotionally, mentally, and even spiritually. But we're going to start at the beginning, this idea of spring cleaning, and what a perfect time for us to be together today. Spring cleaning, it is springtime, and I will share with you, it's an important time. We need a little lift now more than ever. And in this opportunity for even this one key to make a difference in our lift and in our lives, and it's as if all of the stars are perfectly aligned for our time today. Now, there are two things that tend to stop people, and we're going to cover those. We're going to break right through those in key number 2 and key number 3. The two things that come up when we think about decluttering or spring cleaning or, oh my goodness, all that there is to move through. Number one, I wouldn't know where to start. That maybe you're aware you have a lot of clutter. Maybe you're aware now that we've talked about those doors being closed where it looks like everything's in order, but wait a minute. Oh no, we've got a lot under there. And the idea that we keep those doors closed, we keep it out of sight, out of mind, so that we don't need to tend to it. And here are the two stories that people tend to go to. Number one, I wouldn't know where to start. Even if it's a closet, I wouldn't know where to start. But if it's our whole home, that's a big project. I wouldn't know where to start. Could just even be your office. I wouldn't know where to start. And number two, I don't have time. I don't have the time. That's why everything is put behind closets or thrown in drawers, because I don't have the time. And if I had the time, that's the last place I'd want to go. And so therefore it's perpetual and it continues to stack. And if we have this stacking, just think more clutter, more things to move out, more things to move through. Well, unless you're in a space in a place like this, will we ever have the opportunity to get to it? But here's the good news for today. When we think about key number one, take a moment just for a pause. Take a moment, know that I'm here with you. Take a moment to get interested. Is there any place in your life that looks like it's cluttered? Is there any place in your life that looks like it could be cleaned up, cleared out, moved through? The idea that trash, even trash in our kitchen, we take our trash out regularly, consistently, and there's a reason why. Without moving the trash out, that would cause for a very big mess. And so today, when we take a moment, let us look at, is there something for you here? And if you're starting to feel like, yes, Patricia, but this is way too much, I don't want to go there, stay with me. I'm here with you as we head to key number 2. Now, key number 2 is an easy tool in taking inventory. And key number 2 is take inventory. So we just take a moment. Now we're going to take some inventory. And on this inventory, there is a powerful benefit. If you do this exercise, use this tool and take action on this tool, there is an amazing, powerful benefit for you that will start to give you an immediate lift the moment you go through it. So this tool is what I call the 3 C's to decluttering. 3 C's to decluttering. This is about cleaning up, it's about clearing out, and it is about completions. And the easiest way to use this tool, and you can very easily begin using it right in this moment, is to find a sheet of paper. And it's not just a sheet of paper. You may need a dedicated notebook. And your dedicated notebook literally could be just a pad of paper. When I first was introduced to this idea, it took an entire pad of paper. That is how disorganized I was. So this doesn't come like I was born with innate organization and desire to have everything in its place and everything in its particular space. This is something I've learned. This is something I've applied. This is something now I help people through that is absolutely a game changer. So very easily, you can simply have a notebook. And at the top, or you could have dedicated pages, but this is the point. We want 3 different sections. One, number 1, if you're writing now, cleaning up. Number 2, clearing out. And number 3, completing. And the idea here is you could start to we do a brain dump. It's called a brain dump of things that you know right now, just off the top of your head, because we don't even need to go through all the closets just yet. We can know already, well, there are some things that need to be cleaned up. There are some things that need to be cleared out. There are some things that are ready to be completed. So we begin the process of writing it down. And here's why writing it down matters most. We as humans tend to believe we will remember, we'll keep track of it. But that, consciously knowing we have these lists on our head, do you know that expends even more energy than the subconscious keeping track of everything, us trying to keep track of everything in our brains, in our minds, in our head? The moment we write it down, the moment we begin making the list, is the very moment that there is movement, because it's going out of us onto a piece of paper where our subconscious knows it is keeping track. That's where it is. The subconscious immediately starts to know that it doesn't have to keep track anymore. It knows it's all on one list. It knows where to find it. It knows you know where to find it. And it begins the purge. We begin closing down those windows within immediately, without even having to take action on those closets. I keep going back to that closet where we might have things behind the closet or things we know that are here in our space and our place right now. So we begin making the list just of the things that we know of right now. You can begin the process just in this moment. Maybe you have a few ideas of what would go on that list. And when we get it out of here, put it there, there is an immediate organization of thought, organization of action items. So, in this idea that, okay, we get that initial little bit off the top, well, there's more. There's more. I invite you to the next step of key number 2, these 3 C's. I invite you to the next step of once you have decluttered what's going on here in your thoughts or what comes to mind, because the moment we open the door and start to put things down, that opens the door for more things to come to us to put down on the piece of paper or put into the notebook. So the second step to this is go through your home. Go through your home. Go through your space and place. Go through your office. Go through your car. Go through your life. And you can start just one room at a time. I was so interested in this that when I was introduced to this, that I literally took a 30-minute walk through my entire home. And I looked at everything from a new perspective. I looked really clearly to see, is there something that needs to be cleaned up? Is there something that needs to be cleared out? Is there something that needs to be completed that hasn't been completed yet? And when I walked through my home, and this was now, I don't know, 2 decades ago, 15 years for sure, and I walked through every little bit, every inch, and I saw some things newly. I saw some things that I had forgotten even needed to be repaired, completed. I saw some things like in my garage. In our garage, as I was pulling in, there was just one little part of a frame that had been nicked and had broken. It was like, oh, we'll get to that. But remember, every time I went in and out of that garage, my subconscious made another note where consciously, over time, I didn't even see it any longer. It was out of sight, out of mind. And yet, that one little fix, that one little completion, that one little putting in order, would you believe, made all the difference in the world? Just one tiny little completion. Now imagine, and I'll share with you my book. It was pages, it was a whole notebook of all the things in my space and place, all the things in my office, all the things in our home, all the things outside, all the things inside, all the things in my car. And the more I started to make this list, the more I started to see, oh, wait, there's some other things that aren't necessarily tangible that are also asking to be completed, are also asking to be cleaned up, and are also asking to be cleared out. Now that is going deeper, deeper dive. You'll have an opportunity to go into that deeper dive in a minute. However, right now, let's stick to where we are. And in our space and place and what we can see, what we know is here, I invite you to the opportunity to go in your space and place, fill all of this in, and then take a sense of how you feel by having it all in one place. Now, we go to key number 3. Key number 3 is there are 2 different things that can happen when we have it all in one place. My initial feeling after I made my notebook was the idea that, whew, wow, I felt amazing. I felt so lifted. I felt so light. And that lasted for a little while until I recognized and was able to flip through all of the pages. Oh my goodness, there's so much to be done. And that can cause for overwhelm to want to come back in. But key number 3. So we had key number 1, take a moment. Key number 2, take inventory. And then we get to key number 3. So we're already moving mountains. And now we get to key number 3. And key number 3 is, of course, take action. Take action. But wait a minute, I've got a whole book, a whole notebook. I've got overwhelm. I don't know where to begin. And I don't have the time. Be aware of that because when you embrace key number three, and again, I have got something for you in key number three that is a game changer. It's a game changer for you in this day. But key number three, when we take action, key number three, take action, there is a way in which we can, with bite sized pieces, take action and with incredible focus so that we can move through this list little by little, one step at a time. And then all of a sudden we turn around and boom, it is complete. The whole list, it's done. It's something that I created, and it's a process of really how to now take this incredibly, sometimes very large list and really take a portion of it. We're going to take one bite. We have heard a million times, one bite at a time. And where I don't love eating elephants, we know what that means, one bite at a time. What I love is one step at a time will take us all the way up the highest mountain, one step at a time. And then all of a sudden we get to the top just one step at a time and look back to see how far we've come. Well, in this process, it really is about taking the big whole picture and looking at what would be the one area, what would be the one, two, or three items that you would love to really take action on that would make the biggest difference in your life, give you the biggest lift, give you the biggest, yes, I did it. We want to take this gigantic list and create another list, a small list, a manageable list, an easy list. 1, 2, 3. You could have 6, up to 6, no more. But what would be number 1? What would be number 2? What would be number 3, 4, 5, 6? Number them. And then make an appointment, even if it's 30 minutes, even if it's 10 minutes, maybe it's 60 or maybe it's 90. Make an appointment with yourself. And I mean it, literally put it into your calendar, because when things are in our calendars, they get done. When you have an appointment, you show up. And this is about you having an appointment with you and your highest self of possibility. So when you have this appointment, you have your list, you have your focus, and you already know that when you create, when you move through, when you go through, just imagine the lift. And then what happens is momentum. We get the mojo going, we get momentum going. It gives you even greater energy to want to go and move through more from your list. So recognize that this is a gift. Recognize this is a gift that you're actually giving to yourself. And so it is about taking action. Now, some people will say, I don't have the time. You have time. We all have time. We have 24 hours in this day. You and I have 24 hours. You're being given 24 hours. You find how you use it. I choose how I use it. And that's the difference. Will you make a choice to give this gift to yourself, to start with your spring cleaning, just a little here and there, a bite size here, a bite size there? It matters. It matters most. So make the decision. And in this moment, when I mentioned about key number 3, take action. Well, what I found over time, and it started when I was a little girl, is that when we're cleaning anything, when we are doing any kind of project, when we're doing anything, it is so much more fun when we have others with us at the same time. When I was little and I would be, told to clean my room because it was very messy, and I would have that feeling. I don't even know where to begin. I wouldn't even know how to begin. And my mother would come in and say, let me get you started. She would come in and help me focus on where I could get started and what the next few steps would be. And then she would leave the room. Sometimes she'd be with me for a little while, and then I'd be on a roll. And I always knew that she would be there at the end of my time in my room. And when she came back, it was a really beautiful experience because she would celebrate together with me. Yes, look at this. And it's as if I could hear the angels sing, right? Ah! Well, in working with clients, in applying these principles to my own life, I have created something called the Power 90 Plus. Now, the Power 90 is not a new concept. The Power 90 is not anything that I created. In fact, there's a gentleman, Darren Hardy. I think he teaches the Power 90. There are many people who teach the concept of taking 90 minutes focused 90 minutes, and then having a list, prioritizing your list, and taking action. What I have created is something called the Power 90 Plus, where it's a working session where we come together on Zoom from people from all over the country, and now opportunity all over the world to come together in specific periods of time that we have on a calendar where I am there, and we open up the session to really get clear on what our objectives are. We have a centering, we have a boost. I give a boost every time. We have a boost for a lift, and together we open up those doors for 90 minutes. We are in it to win it. And there's a specific formula in addition to this concept, a specific formula that I teach to set yourself up to win, so that when you're in the Power 90, this is a much different experience than any other Power 90, and if you were on your own or alone. So in the Power 90s, we come together. Generally, there are 2, sometimes 3 sessions a week where we have a specific time on Zoom. And this is something that I created because it's what I have learned and lived and applied and benefited from in my life. And so in working with clients, I offer it to clients, and in group programs, this is something that is a bonus. And it's something that people who are in my groups, people who I work with, have access to. And here is the gift of the day for you. There is nothing to purchase. There is nothing to buy. This is my give at this time. Why? Because we need a little lift. Why? Because I know this matters. Why? Because when we have a group, when we have support, when we have a structure, when we have a formula, when we have a method, wow, we can move mountains quickly. And in this time, it is spring. Spring is about ready to be sprung. And I think this is the perfect time for this give in something that I'm really happy to present to you and invite you into. It's actually 6 weeks. When I think of spring cleaning, it's a 6-week window. 6-week window where we will begin at the end of March. We'll go through the month of April and into the first week of May. 6 weeks. You could be there one time. In 6 weeks, you'll have the opportunity to be together 12 times. You could be there all 12 times. You could be there anytime. And in this, if this is something that you would love to participate in, there is actually a link, and we're going to put that in the chat, where you will see that you could actually register. You're going to register, be put on a list, because there will be a video, a tutorial of how to create your very own powerful Power 90. That in and of itself, if you are not with us and the group over the next 6 weeks, that's okay. You will have that video, which will take you a very long way. And in addition, you'll receive a calendar that will allow you the dates, spaces, place, and times, 12 opportunities to be together. And our motto in the Power 90 is we come together, we get things done for sure, and we have so much fun. So it is an opportunity to move through that list. It's an opportunity to declutter spring cleaning. And in this, wow, there's so much more that you will benefit from. So just imagine it's May 15th. May 15th. You have been 6 weeks in a decluttering opportunity. Again, whether you are with us live or you are with us in spirit, and you're on your own decluttering. But imagine you're decluttering 6 weeks or less, and imagine it's May 15th or even Cinco de Mayo. Whenever it is the 1st of May, first week of May, you're feeling a lift. You fall asleep at night knowing everything is in order. It feels so good. Feeling like everything has a space and a place and is scheduled to be put in order or organized. You now are more productive. You now have an increased in lift in your spirit, in your happiness, in joy and peace within, knowing everything is in order. You now even have been shown other spaces and places that could be put in order, and those things are being put in order. And there is just such a sense of elevated spirit within you that frustration, that irritation, that inside hum of trying to keep everything in place and space is now quieted. Just imagine that and celebrating. You did it. We did it. Together, we rise. And just imagine you can hear the angels singing. And as I always love to say, ta-da! It's a new dawn. It's a new day. It's a new life. And now you're ready for the doors to be open. Summertime is here. And you're out enjoying your summertime without thinking, oh, all of those things that I should have done this spring. This is about a spring forward. It's about a spring in your step. It's about a spring in your spirit. And it is about elevated results in your life. And again, in working with people so that they can live their full potential, live their best lives, live their best lives. Well, this is just one of the keys. Key number 5, be organized in this guide that is also available for you free. A free guide, and you'll find that in the comments as well, a link to the guide, because just imagine one key out of 7, there are 6 more keys for you. And if you'd love to know what those keys are, download the guide. If you'd love to go deeper, you can go deeper inside of that guide and create your very own happiness project. But the idea is get those keys. Have those keys, be with those keys, read those keys, apply those keys, because what I know for sure is that you now hold the keys. You now hold the keys. You hold the keys for greater happiness, increased productivity, even greater health with these keys in the happiness guide, opportunity for you. And you hold the keys in how to declutter. Declutter your life starting today in an easy, easy way, and the opportunity to come join me in this day. We will begin the last week of March. When you opt in to that to join us in the Power 90, just your information, you will receive the video of how to set yourself up. You will receive the calendar of how to meet us, where to meet us, when to meet us, and you will receive everything you would want to know before you enter into that Zoom and before we go into the Power 90. So if that's of interest, this is my gift to you. There is no fee. There is nothing to purchase, just simply the opportunity to elevate, the opportunity to declutter, the opportunity for a lift. And today, in this world, at this time, well, we need a lift, a boost, a community, a structure, and an opportunity to rise. So together we rise, and together we are here. And I'd love to know. I did not pause to answer any questions you might have, but I'm going to go see here now if we have any questions that I can be here to answer, because now we will open. And if you have questions on any of the topics here or anything that I can help you with in this idea of elevating yourself to transform your life, this is your time, and I am here with you. So the question has come in, can I go into a little bit more detail about the difference between the three C's? What a great question. So let's take a moment and consider, if we're just in, I don't know, let's go to our kitchens. Let's just go to our kitchens. And we're looking at, maybe, as an example, if we were to go to a kitchen and we see that things need to be cleaned up even before they can be cleaned up. Is there anything that needs to be cleaned up, put back in top shape? Is there anything that needs to be polished up? Is there anything that needs to be cleaned? Anything that needs to be cleaned. Where in the space is it that it would need to be cleaned up? A space that could be cleaned up. And in the space that needs to be cleaned up, and that might be trash, it might be, things that are laying around that you could throw away, things that need to actually literally be using cleaning products on to clean it. We could begin there. When things are cleaned up, then whether we start with cleaning up or whether we start with clearing out, we can begin to see, wait a minute, in this space, what is it that no longer serves me? What is it that no longer fits? What is it that is now ready to be moved out? The clearing out is everything that is ready to, again, it could be thrown out. That could be part of your clearing. It could be donated, and it could be given away. It's just anything that is ready to be cleared out that is no longer of service to you. It could be something old that you've been holding on. It could be something that you are ready to transform, clearing out some furniture. That's an idea. The completion is anything that's not completed. So in my idea of the trim in my garage, I wrote that down as a completion because it was incomplete. If we have some filing in my office, if there's some filing that needs to be done, it's an incompletion. It's an action that was not completed. So you might have some crossover in some of these areas. The idea is that when we have three places that we could put these, then it helps to organize the mind. And so use this in the way that you would innately resonate with. No more than three, and no less than three. So again, in a completion, it could be a project that you started that just hasn't been completed. It could be, a necklace you started making and you set it aside and didn't finish. It could be a painting you started painting and you set it aside and you didn't finish. Whatever the completion would be, something that you thought you wanted to do inside of a space that just was never done, that you would really love to ensure it is done so that we can get it out of here, have it all in order here, and be done. Now, that brings to mind the idea that if I ever wanted to have it done, do I really need to do it now? You could accomplish it. And you could also choose, it's no longer a fit for me. And in that would also be a completion, completing a thought and a clearing out of that thought. Because just because we wanted it back then doesn't mean it still applies today. And that is a cluttering for sure. I've sensed it in my life. I've lived this, and I've helped many through the idea that all the things I thought I was going to live, give, do, be, create, I carry them with me. And now, where I am in my life, they no longer apply. So I can simply close the loop. In these areas, they're really considered open loops. Open loops. So, in this completion, where is it that we would have an open loop? An open loop. And again, we can imagine on our computers when we have open loops what that does to the system. And we want to close those loops. What are the loops we can start closing down? This brings to mind the idea that's coming through many times. People keep the open loops because it can cause actually an adrenaline to have all this scattered, all this open. And if we're so scattered, many times we ensure we're not available for those things that are really asking to be put in order. That's a whole nother conversation. That's a whole nother program. However, this matters, and I hope that's helpful. Let me know. Was that helpful in this idea and question you had on going more detailed on those 3 C's? Is that helpful? All right. And let's see. Do we have any more questions? Any more comments? Very helpful. Makes a lot of sense. Right on. All right. Any other questions before we take off today and before we close down and complete our time together today? Any other questions? Let's take a peek. Take a peek. Any other questions you may have? So again, you are invited. 6 weeks of spring cleaning, 6 weeks of decluttering, 6 weeks of ease and grace, 6 weeks of having fun and getting things done. 6 weeks from now, looking back and be like, oh my goodness, this is the best ever. 6 weeks. We don't have to wait till the 6 weeks. We're going to start making the changes, moving the mountains starting today. So these are the 3 keys to declutter your life starting now. And I'm really grateful to have been here together with you to provide this opportunity for you. And I look forward to being on the inside with you in those Power 90s, because what I know, they are powerful. It's almost like a mini program, mini MINI program of transformation. And we focus on this idea of getting things done and having a lot of fun. And as a bonus to that, the idea that once you understand the Power 90, once you get a hang of it, once you get rolling on it, that Power 90 session, it not only applies to getting things done and having a lot of fun in physical decluttering or spring cleaning, it then can be applied in every area of your life in which you're creating, in which you're building, in which you are expanding, and in which focus matters most in getting things done. So I invite you, join me, click on the link, opt in, and when you do, in 1 week, you will receive the video, the tutorial of how to create your very own Power 90s and how to set yourself up to win within our Power 90s. If you choose to join, you'll receive a calendar of those times in which we have availabilities and in which we come together to have fun and get things done. And in addition, you have the link here today to simply, if none of that is of interest to you, and again, all of that is my gift to you. It's like a rocket ship. Instead of giving cars away today, I'm giving a ride on a rocket ship to go up, up, and away. And if nothing else, please download, go to the happiness link to your guide to happiness and get a copy of this. 7 keys. It's 7 keys to increase your happiness starting today. This is about greater happiness. It's about increased and greater health. And it's about greater productivity. And what we know is that is a recipe and a formula that is the baseline. It is the foundation. And this is something that is the foundational component with everyone that I work with personally. This is the foundation because on that foundation, this is how we step into, open up to our true potential in living our best life for the rest of our life and the pathway to elevation. So, have your copy. The links are there. Know that I am so grateful to be with you today. Thank you for joining. And I'm just checking any other questions, any other comments. And for this, I'm so in for this. I'm so happy you are. And know that I'm so in for this too. It's really on my heart to share this together with you. And I am so grateful to have you here today. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Blessings to you as always. And as we close down today, I hear those angels sing. And as I always love to say, cheers and ta-da! We did it. We did it. We did it. We did it. Have a great and happy day and happy spring. Springing forward. Know that I am celebrating together with you. I look forward to seeing you on the inside. And until then, again, cheers and ta-da. Bye for now.